Have you ever had a conversation with someone in person, easy, natural, warm, and then spoken to the same person on a call the next day and felt something was just off? Not wrong exactly, just flat. Like the signal got through, but something else didn't. The strange part is, both of you were the same people, same voices, same words probably, but the call felt thinner. And if you've ever wondered what actually disappears when you move a conversation online, the answer is more interesting than bad connection or awkward silence. It starts with something most people never consciously notice: the body language contract. In person, a conversation is a two-way physical exchange. You nod, you lean in, you raise your eyebrows, you turn slightly towards someone when they say something interesting. These signals are almost constant. They run underneath the words like a second channel of information. And they do something crucial. They let the other person know you're receiving them, that you're tracking. On a call, that entire second channel either disappears completely or gets reduced to a tiny video thumbnail in the corner of a screen. And what fills the gap? Nothing, unless you actively replace it. Think about what it actually feels like when someone is genuinely listening to you in person. You can sense it before they say a word. Their eyes are on you, their posture is turned toward you, they're nodding slightly. They're not just hearing you, they're visibly receiving you. Dale Carnegie wrote about this quality in people like Charles W. Eliot, a Harvard president known for his ability to make anyone feel genuinely heard. One observer wrote that Eliot listened with his eyes as well as his ears, sitting upright, giving complete attention. That physical presence was itself a form of communication. It was saying, "I am here, I am following, keep going." Remove that presence, and what's left? On a call, the listener can't see any of it, so the speaker loses those constant small signals of acknowledgement. And without them, something subtle happens. The speaker starts to feel like they're talking into a void. The feedback loop that naturally regulates energy, pacing, and warmth in face-to-face conversation just stops working. Here's where it gets interesting. When that loop breaks, most people don't compensate. They just continue as if the call were a normal conversation. But a normal conversational energy level, designed to work alongside eye contact and body movement, sounds noticeably flat when those cues are gone. There's another factor that makes this worse. Notes. A lot of people, especially in professional or educational calls, have bullet points open, an agenda on screen, a script of things to cover. And the moment they glance at those notes, something changes in their voice. The rhythm shifts, the pacing becomes mechanical, the warmth disappears. Carnegie described a minister named Lyman Abbott, who once read a carefully written sermon aloud to his wife before delivering it. Her verdict was simple. It reads like an encyclopedia. The words were right, the sentences were clear, but reading killed the energy. She told him it would make a fine article, not a sermon. He tore up the manuscript and spoke without notes. The result was completely different. The same thing happens on calls. The moment you're reading, you sound like you're reading, and people hear it. Not necessarily as this person is reading, but as this person seems less present, less natural, less warm. The information comes through, but the human doesn't. So what actually makes someone sound alive on a call? One piece is surprisingly simple: smiling. Telephone companies have long trained their staff around the idea that a genuine smile comes through in your voice. Carnegie mentioned a job applicant who chose a smaller company over a larger one after a phone interview, not because of the offer, but because the manager sounded genuinely glad to hear from him. That warmth influenced a real career decision. Physically smiling while on a call changes your tone, your pitch, and your pace. It's not a trick, it's just that the voice carries the face, and the face shapes the voice more than most people realize. Another piece is verbal acknowledgement. In person, you replace silence with nods. On a call, silence is just silence. So small spoken responses, a brief "right," a short "that makes sense," even just a sound of acknowledgement do the work that physical signals used to do. They close the feedback loop. They signal reception. Without them, the other person is essentially speaking into empty air. And then there's signposting. In person, people follow a conversation through visual cues. They can see when you're building towards something, when you're shifting topics, when you're about to conclude. On a call, those visual anchors are gone, so structure has to come through the voice. Brief phrases like, "one thing worth mentioning," or "coming back to what you said earlier," work as verbal navigation. They give the listener a sense of where they are in the conversation. Without them, even a clear point can feel like it arrived from nowhere. There's a deeper mechanism behind all of this. A live conversation is a system with constant feedback. Every small signal you send is read, processed, and responded to in real time. That feedback keeps both people calibrated. It shapes your energy, your pace, your emphasis. Remove the feedback, and the system has to be run manually. What felt automatic now has to be chosen. Most people don't realize the call has removed the automation, so they keep running on defaults built for a different environment. And the result is a version of themselves that sounds technically fine, but feels slightly unreachable. What's interesting is that none of this requires a different personality. It just requires noticing which channel went missing and putting something back in its place. The voice can carry presence, warmth, and attention, but only when something prompts it to. In person, the environment does that prompting automatically. On a call, you have to do it yourself. If you enjoy understanding how communication actually works beneath the surface, subscribe. There is a lot more here to explore.